Welcome to Ball Watching World Cup edition. This is our first solely World Cup show, and coming off the back of the U.S. men's national team roster reveal. I don't know if anyone watched it on ESPN2. It was kind of it wasn't the best of watching viewership. It wasn't the greatest production. There's guys screaming in the background for most of these names being called out. There was like a weird sound that happened some way through it. So it's kind of what you expected for the U.S. to put on for this, but it's still really cool to finally have the roster announced. I know, we as big fans of the U.S. men's national team, we've got some definitely pretty spicy takes to get us started in terms of what we feel about this. I think for my hottest take here, I think Greg might have made some enemies, and I think he's put his hand out there. He's shown us that he's made some decisions that I think a lot of the base might feel could be a little bit unpopular. Other ones that are just a lock, very easy decisions. But I think Greg has put a very firm foot forward. And if this doesn't work out, there's nowhere else to look at this point. He's going to get a chance with this roster. And who knows, maybe it'll pan out. And some of these guys that he's taken could be the ones. And he's seen something with them in training or at the club level. Because there's definitely some questionable ones on here that I think we, as avid watchers of the national team, were a little bit shocked by. That's my hot take. Not too hot yet. It might get a little spicy as we go on here, but that's my initial reaction.
I'm going to go straight into it, Jake, and I'm going to say that I want a different Jordan instead of Jordan Morris. I want Jordan Pefok. And so originally it's like, Jordan Morris been there, kind of like a staple for the U.S. men's national team. He's never played in the World Cup. Right. Fun stat. We only have one player on the team that's ever had World Cup experience, and that's DeAndre Edlin. But I want Pefok. He's 2 years younger, 10 pounds heavier, 3 inches taller than Morris. Give me the younger, taller, better guy that's playing in a soccer competition. Jordan Morris, 7 goals in 29 games. Yeah. When the World Cup rolls around, because the Seattle Sounders did not make the playoffs, it will be a month and a half since his last game and 3 months since he last scored a goal in a competition. Cold is he's coming off the bench. He's not going to start. I'll get into another take on that later why. But then Pefok, 3 goals, 4 assists, 12 games, all started. He just played in a game this past week. He's hot. He's still playing soccer, and he's playing in a higher competition over in Europe as well.
Yeah. Union Berlin has been solid this season too. And he's played a role in it. He's kind of cooled off on the goals, but initially he was just flying. I don't know if you watched Jordan Morris's FaceTime video. They released a couple of those in a little collage after the roster was fully revealed. Just say, coach FaceTime with the players, telling them, hey, you've made the team. Congratulations. A couple of them were, thanks, coach. Like, that's great. And a couple of them were like, coach. Like, you could tell it meant the world to them. I'm pretty sure they cut out Jordan probably crying before, because he had to have been blown out of the water to make this team.
Well, exactly. It's a shock to him, but no offense, but I don't care about feelings when it comes to this. This happens every 4 years. You pick the best players. Don't take the guy that's going to be the most emotionally happy.
I was just cracking up at just the difference in reactions. The guys that were locks are just like, you know what, this is great. So excited. Put me in, coach. And the other guys some guys are just like, coach, this is like the best news I ever could have heard in like my life. Like, you could tell the difference in expectations for some of these players, which is to be expected. But I guess those are some of our kind of initial hot takes. We'll work some in here. We're going to go into loves. So what did we most like about it? And I'll kick it to you to start for this one, Justin.
I mean, I think the 2 easy loves for me, from us being from St. Louis, one, Tim Ream. He is the captain of Fulham just in the EPL. It's his first callback to the men's national team in over a year. Right. He probably would not have made the team with Miles Robinson and Chris Richards, but they're hurt, so don't care. Tim's stepping up. St. Louis, Slew Billiken, go Bills, legend, and he's coming in, and I'm excited to have him in the center back. And then the other love, real quick, Jake, before I let you go, obviously Josh Sargent, St. Louis guy, 16 starts at Norwich in Europe, 8 goals, 2 assists, absolute workhorse, also St. Louis legend, and kind of a hot take as well. Maybe not that hot. I think he should start. When you look at this forwards that we'll get to all kind of later, when you look at the forwards with Pulisic, Ferreira, Jordan Morris, Reyna, Josh Sargent, Timothy Weah, and Haji Wright, I think you need to put someone up top in the middle, and I think that's going to be Josh.
I really hope it's Josh. And I wouldn't be shocked either to go off your Tim Ream take if Tim is immediately in a competition to start in the center, because you look at the defenders that are being brought here. So Cameron Carter-Vickers, Serginho Dest, no surprise there. Aaron Long, no surprise, but I'm really worried about his play, especially recently. I think Greg has a soft spot for him. Shaq Moore, lucky to be on the plane. That this is a guy that if the rosters are still 23 versus 26 players now, not making the squad. Tim Ream, obviously. Anthony Robinson, his teammate at Fulham, our only left back in this pool. I don't think anyone here plays natural left back. We could have some guys slot in there if he gets hurt or if needed. He's our only left back. He will play every single minute in Qatar, like no doubt about it.
Where do you think? Where are we going to put Dest?
Right, he'll play on the right. Yeah,
right.
And Dest could do a little bit of that duel as well, but no one's a true left back like Anthony Robinson. Joe Scally can also kind of switch on both sides of the wing backs. DeAndre Yedlin, the only returning player from the last World Cup we participated in. Yedlin was a baby. He was, I think, a maybe first year Seattle right before he signed for Tottenham, and right. He could fly like a track 100-meter dash. This dude, no one could catch him. But
he's
he was
29 years old, so he was 21 when we last played.
He was really, really young. And it's ironic now because he was the youngest. He was the youngest then, and he's one of the oldest now. Tim Ream is, I think, the oldest by a good long shot on the team. And then Walker Zimmerman, who's expected to probably start every single game at center back. He's going to be one of the two. It's a matter of who will pair up with him. You have Carter. You have Carter Vickers.
Man bun guys.
Yes, we do have man buns. We have man buns showing out here, and maybe we'll have more come World Cup time. I got a couple more weeks to keep growing that hair out. I'm going to be really interested to see who they pair up with Zimmerman. I think it could be Ream. I think they're going to be tempted to go with Long, but man, I'm just not sold on him. Carter Vickers doesn't have the experience nor the caps, in my opinion. He'll be a good depth, and he's having a good season with Celtic, but I'm excited. I mean, to have Tim Ream and Josh Sargent, two St. Louis boys showing out for the national team, and both came out of nowhere. Josh Sargent was like, first cycle. The World Cup qualifiers, never came back again. And Tim Ream, I think you said he was called on last year into camp. He left for personal reasons. So I think it's another year ago before that where he actually last played for the national team. So this is a guy that benefited from the situation, from some injuries. You would love to figure out or think more about how this roster would be different had we not had the World Cup in the winter time like we're doing it right now versus the summer.
That's completely fair. And I think we'll probably get into that as we get closer to the World Cup, but not just our team, but around the world. I think there's so many guys that are falling out from injuries, being in the middle of their seasons, and as opposed to just being in the summer. So it's going to be a very odd World Cup, which, yes, we have some injuries, but as long as our guys with the little tweaks here and there, like Reyna and McKennie and them all come back, and Luca de la Torre, if they come back healthy, completely healthy, it's only going to be a plus for us.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Any more loves we got, Justin, before we hop into snubs?
I mean, I'm just excited to be into our midfielders. We'll kind of talk about that later, but thinking about Pulisic, Reyna, Weston McKennie, and just those guys doing a little trio, that sounds awesome. Yeah,
no shocks at all with the midfielders selected. I don't think it was weird to see Brendan Aronson listed as a midfielder. I feel like he's going to play a forward position on the wings unless they do decide to slot him in the field, which they've tried before. Kellen Acosta is going to be a great depth guy over there. I think I don't see him starting any games unless we get into a nice position or a really poor position. But obviously, the guy's confidence got to be riding high after winning the MLS Cup with LAFC. Christian Roldan, like we said before, very lucky to be on the plane here. We got a word that Christian Roldan is glue guy for the squad. Christian Roldan probably not going to see a minute, regardless of circumstances over there, unless he pulls one out of a hat. I'm not sure. But apparently, the locker room just loves this guy, which everyone's got to have. If you got 26 people on the roster, there's 11 out in the field. We can have room for a glue guy. So Christian Roldan, it sounds like he's going to play that role for the team. Otherwise, you mentioned the guys that are going to start. It'll be Adams, McKennie, and Musa. I mean, absolutely electric midfield trio, all very young too. Going to be really excited. So I love seeing them together, really praying they can stay healthy these next couple of weeks, get into training, and just hit the field running.
Fun fact, Musa is 19. Do you know when his birthday is?
No.
Our third game against Iran.
Oh, my God. Wow. What a gift.
He will turn 20.
Wow.
Extremely young, gifted kid. I hope he gets some time, not only in that game, but he can fly as well. And he can just kind of hold the ball in the midfield and kind of do what he needs to do. So I hope he gets some good minutes.
And while we're on the young thing, I have one more love before we get into snubs, and the snubs will be fun. But the young thing, we've mentioned young a couple times already here, and some old. But we're expecting the average roster, our roster to be an average age of 25 years in the 175 days. So like 25 and a half, which should be the youngest roster for the U.S. ever at a World Cup. So it's going to be pretty crazy. And I'm looking at this now. They might have had some competition from the 1990 squad. I think in terms of people starting, we will definitely have probably the average youngest starting 11 out there, which is exciting. You know, a lot of room to grow for these players. And my last love that I have, we haven't talked about goalies yet. We're going to get into snubs, and this kind of I'll dovetail here. But so there's 3 goalies on the roster going. You know, before this announcement, and I saw some murmurings before these last couple of days, but you would have expected that Zach Steffen and Matt Turner would be in competition to start, and because they've kind of flip-flopped. Steffen was kind of the guy in the very beginning of the cycle ever since we failed to qualify, and he played a lot of World Cup qualifiers, then kind of turned to the picture. Both are in England now playing. You know, Steffen plays more, but Turner plays at Arsenal, and he was in some great form for the national team. I love this for Matt Turner. I think this is a chance for him to show his story and his skill at the highest level. He's a great story. You should definitely look him up if you haven't. He committed to soccer super late. He's got a great athletic ability, and I'm happy for him as a person and as an Arsenal fan. It's gonna be electric to see him starting for the team. I don't think he's gonna be in any sort of competition. Greg kind of said that already, that he's going in there as the number 1. But snub Zach Steffen. What the hell is going on? I had a Twitter war with someone in the replies to the goalie section about this, just going back and forth. And if I'm Zach Steffen, something's going on here. Like, I know he's been injured sometimes. I know he's been left out of the last, couple cycles and camps. But there's something weird here. No one can convince me that he is outside of the top 3 in our depth chart. I know he hasn't been in the best of form. I know Middlesbrough's not playing well. I know he hasn't looked great for the national team. But you cannot convince me that he is not better than at least one of the 3 going there. So something's going on there. Something is definitely weird about that situation.
I agree. So I did a little stat research. He's had 16 starts for Middlesbrough in the championship, which is the league right below the EPL for anybody that doesn't know. He's given up 19 goals, so more than a goal a game. Fine, not awful. 4 clean sheets. That's 1 every 4 games. Ethan Horvath, the other goalie, that's probably going to be our backup now to Matt Turner, I would say. 19 starts, 16 goals against, so less than a goal a game, 9 clean sheets, and 2 in his last 2 games. So I think he's got a little bit of the hotter hand, quote unquote. No pun intended. Pun intended. Yeah. I don't know. Sean Johnson is going to be our 3rd guy. I think that's the guy that you could probably keep out of here. And I could maybe see why Berhalter did this. He brought New York City FC to the Eastern Conference Finals. This year he had 33 starts. 38 goals against. That's kind of a lot, especially in MLS, but 15 clean sheets. So he's doing a clean sheet just about every other game. So I don't know, unless Turner gets hurt, I don't know why you would play either of these guys. And I know last episode we really had the debate on, do you start Turner or do you start Steffen? Right. So now it's like, why would you start these other guys? Yeah, it's made. Horvath could maybe be your PK guy if you wanted to switch that out. Yeah. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. And there was just that forward section entirely got me. Like, getting Jordan Morris on this team was, like we said in the beginning, shocking. A guy like Jordan Pefok not getting the call up, he just has such a different dimension. He's a huge freaking dude. When you got to just throw something different at a team when things aren't working, going the right way, Jordan Pefok's the guy that can kind of switch things up and offer a different dynamic going forward. We have a lot of players that have like kind of the shorter presence, but very shifty, quick, can run the channels, can run and get long balls and through balls. We don't have that right now. Haji Wright, I think, is what is that supposed to be now for us. I'm not buying it. And I was going to say one more thing about the forwards, but I was shocked to see what we rolled out with the forwards. I also think Ricardo Pepi should have been in the team. I know we were talking a little before this that, you don't think he's a snub. I think he's a snub given he did what I think he had to do to put his name on this list and get on a plane. Took the loan move. He's showing out. He's putting goals and assists. Yeah, it's not a great league, but he did what he had to do. He's going to get a move in the summer. I'm sure he's devastated. Bright side, he's got a lot of years in front of him. I hope he doesn't feel too burnt on this situation. I just don't want to be kicking ourselves because there was a period there where we were relying on him. He scored some World Cup qualifier goals for us.
And I think that is going to be the problem with this team. Not that I don't trust them, but we haven't scored goals. And I will say he didn't do that either in the most recent World Cup qualifying games. So Yes, I will agree he's a snub, but I'm not that upset about it. Yeah. I think that my initial thought was maybe switching with Haji Wright because we're extremely mild. We're just flat out average up top right now. But he's been cold recently. 1 goal in his last 4 games. Yes, he helped us get through there, which is kind of, but also at this point, Jake, like I said, it's not about like pulling heartstrings and thank yous. Like you got to be hot and you got to be playing well. And I'll take Haji Wright. He scored 4 goals in his first 4 games. I guess it's in the Turkish league, but still putting goals away. And then also, he's also got 3 inches and 15 pounds on Pepe. I'll take the athleticism.
Yeah. I'm excited too. And I know we're kind of getting, do you have any more snubs, Justin, before we get into some of the final thoughts?
No.
I'm excited for, obviously, I want to see Pulisic, like I said in our last episode, with a chip on his shoulder. I think he's got a hell of a lot to prove. He's got a big summer ahead of him. I know he wants to get out of Chelsea. So I'm excited to see him at the world's biggest stage where he deserved to be back in 2018 now and missed out on so unfortunately. I'm also really excited to see our X Factor. And I say X Factor is Giovanni Reyna. He has been pretty injury ridden most of the early part of the season. He's back and he is playing off the bench, sometimes starting with Dortmund. Dortmund's a hell of a team, coached really well as well in Germany. So he's got such a different dynamic and a different profile. He's got such a great technical ability on the ball. He offers you a very different threat. I think he will become our impact sub off the bench. I don't think he slots right into the starting lineup. I think that'll be up top, Aronson, Pulisic, maybe Weah, but in the middle, probably Ferreira. I think Ferreira is probably going to be starting up top for us. I don't want that. I'd rather be Sargent. I think Sargent has more to offer, and we're a little bit biased. But I think Gio Reyna could make a serious impact here. He's got so much potential that we haven't really seen yet.
I disagree with you in the sense that he's definitely an X factor, and I think he will have to carry a lot of the weight of this team. But I think he'll start. I do. You think
he'll start?
Okay. Yes. I don't know, and I've been trying to think about the different formations that we can be playing, but I think we would be probably our best team, a little shorter on the side, but if we do Pulisic with Gio Reyna and Weston McKennie, and then obviously Tyler Adams kind of holding it in. But look at that. If you think about that, and then other X factors, yes, I would think Aronson. My favorite X factor is Timothy Weah. Yeah, I think him coming down the wings, he can get pretty shifty pretty quick, and he can do a little bit of some showboating, but I think he's going to really take off in this World Cup, and I think that we're going to need him to.
We will. We'll need everyone to be on their game here. There are no locks in this World Cup, and keep in mind, I was reading about this today, these players, just going to leave you this parting word, these players have 6 days to hit the ground in Qatar and start playing together. You know, they've played together before in certain cycles, but this group has never been assembled specifically before with all this pressure mounting and the World Cup right in front of them. They have 6 days to put their heads together, get on the same page, and go at Wales on November 21st. So I'm excited about the roster. I'm not going to crap all over it. We definitely have some things we would do differently, but you know, I think it's still excited to see that roster going over to Qatar.
You said there's no locks. There's one lock, Jake, and it's the U.S. to get out of the group. And I looked at the line before we did this. It actually went down. It's minus 105. So now instead of spending 100 to get 100, you got to spend 105. We're inking that way.
Double down? Are we doubling down now?
I've too many downed already.
Well, that's all we have for you all today. Just wanted to talk about the U.S. men's national team roster reveal. We're going to have plenty more of this content coming up, probably very soon here. Releasing a video with a special guest interview, which we teased on our last episode, and a primer for the Wales game. Because, I mean, we're creeping up on this. We're 12 days from that now. So we get closer and closer every day. You know where to come for all of your World Cup news, U.S. men's national team news during the World Cup. It's going to be at BallWatchingSTL on Twitter and Instagram, and type it in on YouTube, and you'll catch all of our visual content there.
And one more quick plug, Jake. Yeah. Our sponsor, Series 6. They just dropped some new Christmas gear. Budweiser. Oh, yeah. I actually just bought one. I'm literally on my way.
Merry Christmas.
Don't buy while you're driving, but I got really excited. I had to buy one. Use the code at BallWatchingSTL for 15% off. It's actually just the code is just at BallWatching, 15% off. Get some Christmas gear. They just came out with some new Blues gear for people in St. Louis. Mm-hmm. We know they need your support because they are trash right now. But yeah, go to Series 6 and buy yourself something. It's starting to get cold out there. You're up.
It is. Got to bundle up. Series 6 is the place to go, and Ball Watching is the place to hear all of your World Cup and City news. We will be with you for the next couple of weeks covering the World Cup. Thanks, everyone.
See ya.